platform designated downtown in Brooklyn. She skipped down 2 flights of stairs. Before she reached the bottom, she saw the man in the overcoat again, side view. He had a dark beard, which he kept neat, AirPods in his ears, and a thick scarf round his neck, tucked into the folds of the coat. Like the other 20 or so people on the platform, he had his head down, gazing at a cell phone. Time check, 7:19. They had just missed the express to South Ferry that only stopped at Times Square, Penn Station, 14th Street, and Chambers Street. If he'd taken the express, he would have had to get off at Chambers Street, then change for Flatbush to make his stop at Wall Street. Amanda kept him in her eye line, but moved behind him to his 8 o'clock, not directly behind him, because he might pick up her reflection in the train window as she moved. Her face was mostly covered by the cap and scarf, but she couldn't take the chance he might spot her, recognize her, like he had last time. At 7:21, the number 2 rolled in on a blast of ice-fresh September wind. The train slowed, stopped. Amanda moved forward. A voice on the PA system announced the train's arrival. There were now maybe 100 people spread out on the platform. Rush hour on the subway. People going about their lives, getting through the journey, thoughts of their jobs already heavy in their minds. Not for Amanda. Not anymore. The train doors slid open, and commuters poured out. Amanda had to brush past a teenager in a school uniform and a construction worker with his hard hat clipped to his shoulder bag. They both said something as Amanda pushed in. She didn't care. She couldn't risk the man in the overcoat making it onto the train without her, leaving her stranded on the platform. That had happened before, too. She moved forward. He was 5 feet ahead. The departing passengers had left room in the car, but not much. There were 2 of the prized orange seats left. As usual, he made for them, and managed to get one this time. Amanda turned her back on him, took hold of a pole in the center of the car and let it fill up, let the embarking passengers jostle her up the car a little until she was close enough to reach out and touch him. She kept her back to his seat row. The doors closed. Bodies crushed together all around her, yet she had enough room to turn, and she did, a half turn. There were 2 people standing side by side in front of the seated man in the overcoat. Their backs were to each other, an arm's width between them. The man in the overcoat started manspreading. The woman seated to his right gave him a dirty look, and then swiftly returned her attention to the laptop balanced on her knees. The young man to his left was playing a video game on his phone. They ignored the man, or tried to. Amanda unlocked her cell phone, selected the first of the pre-programmed timers, and hit start just as the train began to move. The timer ticked down from 1 minute 13 seconds, the average time between train doors closing at 96th Street and the doors opening again at 86th Street. When she still had a job, she'd been a manager in a retirement home, having worked her way up from caregiver to the person who ran the joint for the company. She had found that if she had something to accomplish, she would only do it if she sat down and wrote out a plan, step by step. This is how she got her degree at night school. This is how she got her promotions to supervisor, deputy manager, and then manager. This is how she planned one of her paintings or sketches, which she worked on late into the night. This is how she planned the murder she was about to commit. Amanda took another glance in the man's direction. She wasn't concerned he'd spot her from behind, or even from the side when they were this close. He wouldn't be able to see her face in any of the windows unless he stood up. She wore sneakers, a pair of baggy black sweatpants, a puffy coat, and a hooded sweatshirt beneath it, as covered up as she could get without standing out. There were 3 stops on this train that gave her the opportunity she needed. It had to be timed perfectly. The shot coming just as the doors opened, her aim concealed by the mass of bodies around her. Then she would scream, like others surely would, drop the gun and run like crazy off the train. A gunshot in a crowded rail car would cause a panic, a stampede to get to safety. She would be one woman in a mass of people getting out of there, up the stairs and straight out of the station.